Comcast is committed to bringing access to the internet to all Americans, including rural communities across the country, like Sussex County, Delaware.
We were being left behind. Everybody around us seemed to have internet, but we did not. High-speed internet is one of those good things that we needed to help us move our farming, our small businesses, our recreation forward.
Learn more about how we're bringing our next generation network to more people across the country at comcastcorporation.com/investment in America.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Hey there, listeners. Welcome to Shit That Goes On to Our Heads, the podcast where we normalize conversations around mental health.
That's right. I'm Dirty Skittles, and alongside my amazing co-host, Rex, we are here to share stories and tips from our incredible guests.
Each episode, we deep dive into struggles and triumphs of mental health, offering practical advice and heartfelt support.
Because no one should feel alone in their journey. Join us as we break the stigma and build a community of understanding and compassion.
Tune in and let's start talking about the shit that goes on in our heads. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Shit That Goes On Our Heads. Today, I have my amazing co-host, Dirty Skittles, and today we have an incredible guest, Richard. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
I love your backdrop. It looks awesome.
It's my home office.
I'm going to take notes. We are currently redoing my home office, and it is not looking that great, but we're doing it ourselves. We'll get there eventually.
Get there.
Yeah, it looks strong and, very masculine.
It is. Here, I'll turn this around for you.
Nice. See, this is what our listeners don't get to see. Wow. Man, it looks nothing like my home office.
And then, if you want to see this is where we do our podcast.
Very nice.
That is nice.
Right? And that's
Man, G-Rex, we need to step up our game a little bit,
That would mean we'd have to live in the same state. Okay. Not going to happen. All right. I'm not moving back south again. Ever.
Very true. You tell me this all the time. Never coming back to Florida. I'm not leaving Georgia. We're going to be here. It's going to be good.
It's not happening ever again. So, Richard, tell us a little bit about you.
My name is Richard Taite. I started a treatment center back in 2004 called Cliffside Malibu, which was considered at the time to be the most effective, high-end drug and alcohol treatment facility in the world. And some people came around, wanted to buy it. I wasn't interested in selling, but they just kept throwing more money at me until finally I couldn't say no. And then I spent 5 years like a Malibu housewife. I was bored. I was angry. I was unfulfilled. And quite frankly, it was the worst 5 years of my life. I mean, it was just horrible. If you are one of the best in the world at treating drug addiction and alcoholism and giving people back their families, and you don't do it, you're a dick. Okay. And so when the non-compete ended, I called 10 of my most valuable employees at Cliffside and I said, I'm sorry for the late notice, guys, but everybody comes home today. And they all said the same thing to me. let me go give my notice and I'll call you right back. I mean,
Wow.
just couldn't believe we were doing it again because I didn't have to do it again. And so then 10 days later, 14 more showed up, then another 6. And then I hired the HR person because we needed one. And I wanted to find out how destabilized I made that place. Nobody's perfect. And so we started Carrera. Now, that's a high-end luxury treatment facility. It's got a world-class spa in it. It's one of one. Think fine hotel. But that's not why I got back into this thing. I got back into it because I wanted to help with the fentanyl crisis and I wanted to treat the military and veterans again. But I don't know how to scale something like that. You know, I have the vision and I set the culture, but I'm not an operator. I'm like the worst CEO in the history of the world. So I made a mistake. I'm just doing this Carrera thing and we're ramping up and it's going to be 6 months till we get our license. And this guy calls me, an acquaintance of mine from the past, and he calls me hysterically crying. And he says, I have payroll in 36 hours and I don't have any money. And I've got 9 people in my treatment center. And what you guys don't understand, or what the listeners may not understand, is when a treatment center goes under and they can't pay their bills, the employees come and they take the TVs off the walls and they wheel out furniture and stuff like that, computers and stuff. And they leave these 9 people sitting there alone. And they're never getting sober again. They're never seeking treatment again because they can't trust it. So now I'm sitting here, I'm completely unprepared. And I'm like, okay, I go down the next morning at 9:30. And by 12:30, I kid you not, because I'm so good at due diligence, I bought the company. Okay. With all the fleas and everything. Okay. Like a moron would do. Okay. And so that's when I called my people and I was like, everyone comes home today, because I got scared now that I bought essentially nothing. Okay. But problems. And so they came all in and fixed it. And I found this CEO. It took me 8 months to find this CEO, but she's the best in the world. And she knows how to scale. So right now we're treating the military and veterans, and we are scaling so fast, not for anything that I have to do with it. It's all her. It's all Candy. And she's my work wife. And I love her. And we fit. And she's kind. And, you know, a lot of times an operator will walk in and say, oh, that's the crazy owner, and dismiss him. And, you know, she's never done that to me. It's always been inclusive. And she said, okay, buddy, your gifts are here. So you do this and I'll do this. And the comforting part of it really is that everything I can do, she can do. And everything she can do, I have no clue of doing. So it's like dividing and conquering. And really, this is the best life I've ever known. Really, truly. There's nothing like having a military person in the active military or a veteran who has taken care of us, and we get to give back to them and say thank you. There's nothing more special than that. Nothing, to me.
I have a very sweet spot for military and veterans. My first question for you comes from that. So why start there? Why focus on the military and the vets?
Because they're the people that take care of us, and because they don't have a voice. And the way they get treatment is garbage. Okay. And the way I do it and the way we do it, anytime I say I mean we, anytime we do it in a way that I refer to as a love call, it's righteous and authentic, and we genuinely care. We're emotionally invested in these people. So we're their cheerleaders, we're rooting for them, and we're gently moving them along their path. And really, you know, love is the foundation for everything if you think about it. And when you tell that to people, they go, no, dude, you're wrong. Love is the baseline for everything we do, because when you walk into treatment, you're full of shame, right? You feel like a loser and a waste of talent, and you've donkeyed off your whole life, and you're a disappointment. And really, I'm going to beat that horse. We're going to pile on. No thanks. I'm not about that. What we're about is loving them and showing them self-care, which turns into self-esteem, which turns into self-love. And I've never met anybody who truly loved themselves trying to kill themselves with drugs and alcohol. And you can think about it all you want, and you're never going to find it either.
Mm-hmm. What called you to this? Like, how did this become your purpose?
Sure. Well, I lost 25 years to drug addiction. So I started smoking pot at 12, and I stole the pot from my dad. And then at 16, I found cocaine. And then later at 16, I found crack cocaine. And that was it. The crack cocaine was it. And so I lost 25 years where I was loaded 95% of the time. Right? So I ended up going to a sober living, a men's sober living. And I'm there in a bedroom with 10 other guys and bunk beds. And I'm sitting there, and the cottage cheese ceiling is literally 18 inches from my face. Right? And you're in there with the guys snoring and farting and coughing and sneezing. And every time the guy below you moves, the top of the bunk, because I was brand new, so I got the top of the bunk, right? And it's moving around. And I'm just thinking to myself, how the hell did I get here? Which was a great thing. Now, a lot of your a lot of your listeners right now are thinking, well, you own a high-end treatment center, but you went ahead and got sober in a 10-bed bedroom with all this no frills thing going on. And I said, yes, that's true. People ask me that all the time. And I said, yes, that's true. But at this point in my life, I would have never humbled myself to do that. And just because somebody wouldn't humble themselves to do that because they've got a big life, that shouldn't be a death sentence. What, they don't want to go to AA or a sober living or a shitty rehab and they deserve to die for it? No, this guy's got a big life. Let's figure out a way to get him sober and thriving in the world. You know? So I got sober at this place. And then after multiple times, by the way, I've had over 300, I think, about 300 sobriety dates. Right? But here's the important thing to know about that. See, I've had about 5 completely effortless sobrieties. Completely effortless. Like, it went away. And this is how cunning and sick an alcoholic's mind is. I would only focus on the 4 or 5 effortless sobrieties, thinking I can get this sobriety thing anytime I want. But I will not focus on the 300 failed attempts where every second felt like a minute, every minute felt like an hour, and every hour felt like a day, just begging God to keep you sober. And then while I was in this sober living for the last time, I hit my knees and I'm praying before I go to bed. And it occurs to me that this is effortless. And maybe I should ride this out since it's easy. And then I said something else. I said, oh yeah, and God, will you do me a favor? I said, I can't breathe. And I was smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day. And I said, I can't breathe. Can you help me stop smoking? And I woke up the next morning, and I normally put a cigarette in my mouth the first thing. This is in 2003, 22 years ago. I wake up in the morning. I don't put a cigarette in my mouth. And then I realize at 11 o'clock, haven't had a cigarette. So I grab a cigarette and I take a couple of drags. It tastes like poison. It tastes like ass. It was disgusting. So I put it out. And at 2:00, I grab another one and it tastes like poison. And I look up at God. I'm like, shut up. You are kidding. Really? And I haven't had a cigarette since that day. Right? So, my history is such that I was so bad. I would eat a Big Mac once a week just to keep myself alive. I was up 6 to 8 days in a row without sleep at all times. That was my average. I was once up 13 days straight. Okay. And you hallucinate at some point in the third day. So you don't even remember it. You don't even enjoy it. You're in a blackout. You're having a good time in the moment, but you can't remember it.
I'm Dr. Sarah Rahal, the founder and CEO of Armra. I developed Armra Colostrum because I know your body was designed to thrive. It's your natural state, your birthright, and you can reclaim it. Colostrum is the first nutrition we receive in life, with every essential nutrient our bodies need. It's nature's original blueprint for health. After a devastating health crisis almost took my life, I made it my mission to harness this power. Using proprietary technology, Armra captures over 400 bioactive nutrients in every scoop, delivering over 1,000 benefits that transform your health at its foundation. Whether for gut health, metabolism, skin, hair, immunity, mood, energy, fitness, or recovery, I invite you to join this collective revival of health and discover radical transformation for yourself. Visit armra.com, that's ARMRA.com, and enter code HEALTH30 for 30% off your first subscription order. This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. When you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself, talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
That's where I came from. And when I got out after about 11 months, I wanted a men's sober living of my own. I had a really good experience. I made a lot of good friends, people that I'm still close to today. And, I wanted my own. So I opened it in Malibu. And, pretty soon the state came by and they said, you're operating a rehab illegally. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? This is sober living. They're like, yeah, but you're providing treatment. I said, no, I'm not. They're like, do therapists come in here and treat these people? I'm like, yeah, a therapist comes in and talks to them and makes certain that they're on the right. That's treatment, they said. So I went and I got my license because I didn't know that you couldn't give more than you promised. I didn't know that, right? And so they went ahead and I got licensed, and then it grew to 83 beds. And, and then it was sold. It that wasn't even close to the experience I'm having this time, because the last time I needed to work. The last time it was a business. And even though it was a love call, it was a business. Now it's a straight love call because the money is insignificant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question because you said it a couple of times, love call.
Yeah.
Who called out to you in those moments?
I didn't have anybody. I had my grandmother, but my grandfather had passed. My father had left the house for another family. My mother was a wreck. I had a mentally ill brother who is now gone. I had another one who was on drugs. It's, I didn't have anybody. There was nobody I had. But, I've always had, and I don't know how I got this because my parents didn't have it. My brothers don't have it. Nobody I know has it. But I've always had this like connection to God, always. And I'm not religious. I think religion sucks. Okay. I'm not about that. But I've always had this connection, right? And that served me well because in my life today, the way I operate in the world is I feel the pull. And when I feel the pull, I go that way and I check in and I go, we good here? And then if I get this warm sensation over my body, like a warm blanket, I know I'm good. And you can't explain that to people because they look at you and they think you're insane. But that's what has always worked for me. That's it.
I can relate. I can relate to some degree. When I think of like the darkest times in my life, I said this to others before where I think if I didn't, and I've always referred to it as hope, because I'm like, I think if I didn't have hope in those dark moments, I wouldn't be here. But there was something that always called me to continue to hope and to continue to just take another step, move forward. So for me, I've always thought about that. I can't imagine what it would be like to not have that pull, to not have that hope. I wouldn't know what life would be like that,
I can tell you what hope looks like. Like I had that small glimmer of hope on Christmas Day 2022 that things were going to get better. That it was just a glimmer, but it was that glimmer that helped me to dial 988. If I hadn't called 988, I wouldn't be here today because I was that close. And like I said, I'm grateful every day that I'm here. I turned all that horrible pain into purpose, and we get to do this amazing podcast and talk to amazing guests like Richard. And my question for Richard is, like, what do you do now to keep yourself centered? Because like with everything that's going on, the world's on fire right now.
Right.
Literally on fire. And we have so much shit coming at us every day. And, for anybody that's got like an addictive personality or anything like that, like how do you keep yourself so that you're centered today?
Well, first of all, I've transcended drug addiction and alcoholism. And not everybody does that. That's very rare. Okay. You can't, lose a quarter century and then be sober for 22 years and give 10,000 families back their loved ones and walk out of here with no skill. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. So I'm good. I'm centered. Okay. But I wouldn't say it was all the work I did. I would say a significant part of the reason I'm sober today is because I have children. And my children have never seen me get loaded. And, you don't know what love is until you have a child. You think you do, but you don't. You just don't. People don't want to have kids because they're either afraid, right, that they're going to be shitty parents or that it's going to cost too much money or it's going to eat into their fun. Okay, first of all, it is going to eat into your fun, but it gets replaced with something much greater, 1,000 times greater. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, it doesn't cost you money. It makes you money. Because, for myself, I'm like, yeah, I got enough. I'm cool. I'm good. Right. But once you have children, you're thinking about your children and their mother, and then you're thinking about their children and their children. And it's, so exhausting.
I feel you.
I forgot where I was, by the way. So this is why we don't do live stuff with
I guess I'm curious, the pull that you felt in your life, has that helped you help others?
Sure, because that's what's the meaning of life, to
Yeah.
be maximum service to God and to your fellow man, right? So when I feel the pull, he's pulling me in that direction. He ain't pulling me to cracking hookers.
Right.
Right? He ain't doing that. Right? I'll give you an example. Okay. I've always treated 3 military or veteran people at all times for every minute I've been in the treatment industry, always. But that's all I could afford. So that was my way of giving. Right? So about a year ago, maybe not even a year ago, I'm driving with my son, who's 11 at the time. Maybe he was 10. And we're driving and I see this woman with all her shit around the bus bench, but she's not on the bus bench. She's on the floor in a fetal position. It's a bad neighborhood. So I pull over and I said to my kid, hey, babe, I'm going to lock you in the car for a minute. Daddy'll be right back. So I only have a couple $100, $200-$300, right? So I go into my pocket and I want to give it to her. And she says to me, no, thank you, and pulls the thing over her head. And I go, and I pull the thing back and I go, hey, please take the money. And she says, money isn't my issue. I'm mentally ill. She knew it. And I said, she goes, I'll just lose it. And I said, it's yours to lose. And my throat is closing and I can't breathe. And I start crying, but I don't know I'm crying. I feel that I'm crying because the tears are coming down. And she won't take the money. And so I straighten up, I wipe my face because I don't want to freak out my kid. And I get in the car and we're driving away. And my boy says to me, you're a good man, Daddy. And I said, thanks, baby. And he said, did you help that woman? And I said, no, I did not. He said, why? I said, because she's mentally ill. And he sat there for a minute and he was processing it. And about a minute later, he looks at me and he goes, hey, Dad, I don't understand. You've got a treatment center. Why can't we pick these people up right off the street and put them in these centers? From the mouth of a 10-year-old. The next day, I called my guy at Korn Ferry, who is the biggest headhunting firm in the world. And I said, find me a CEO that will scale 1,000 beds to pull people off the streets. And if they're not interested in it, move on to the next person. And that's what I got. And we got it because of my son. That's where I get it from.
You're going to make me cry. I got tears in my eyes.
I know. We need like a safe word bananas. No, I love that. And it reminds me, I mean, my son's 7, but they have such an innocent mind, right? Yeah, that's the only way I can describe it. Innocent. Like he'll say stuff and I'm like, that is how it is, right? Like he sees things so simply.
You know what I say to myself all the time? When I do something stupid, I go, my 15-year-old self would have beat the shit out of me for that. He would have come and smacked me right in the face. Been like, are you nuts? It's like, sometimes you just have to go back to basics, you know, and just get back to common sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't relate to that one. I don't think my younger self would have been like, what the fuck are you doing? I think my younger self would have been like, okay, what are we doing? But no, I think that's beautiful. And I have to say, man, this has to be hard, right? This isn't like easy work. This has to be hard, like mentally, emotionally. I can't imagine, especially focusing on what is near and dear to me, like military vets. That has to be hard.
Here's the part that's hard. I'm in the car the other day and I'm with my producer, Dylan, who's doing a podcast. And we're in the car and I lock eyes with this woman as I'm going through the intersection and she's holding a sign. And so I pull over because we locked eyes. Okay. So that means I'm supposed to help her. I didn't lock, you know what I mean? I mean, that's just what that means. I mean, I'm awake, right? So I pull over and I give Dylan, I think it was $100. And I said, hey, go give this money to this woman. What woman? Bro, get out of the car and look to your right. You'll know which woman it is. Come on, son. So the kid, 22-year-old, gets out of the car, right? And he goes to give the woman the money and he gives it to her, but she's looking in the car. She wants to say thank you, right? So I get out of the car and these people are invisible. People drive by them. There's no connection and the money isn't enough. It's not. Stop and say hello. Right? So I get out of the car and I do this with my arms out. And I said, can I give you a hug? And she goes, see. And I gave her a hug. And I said, I'm sorry you're struggling. And we got in the car and Dylan looks at me and he says, I bet that makes you feel really good. And I said, it does not. And he said, why? And I said, because we left her there. It never feels good. It always feels bad. It's torture. It all is. It always is. But this is all I know. I would have no value to anyone but my children if it wasn't for this skill. So I don't have a choice. And I didn't want to do it again. I did not. It almost killed me the first time. But I didn't have a choice. So I just, you do it. And this is just my lot. It never gets easier. Never.
So I have a question for you. For the homeless population that we have out there, right? I'm going to say probably 80% of them are suffering from mental health issues or addiction issues. How do you guys get them to go in and get treatment?
Okay, so the number 75%, so that was very good. The same, taking people off the street is very hard. You have to have a therapeutic alliance with this person. You have to earn it. Okay, it's just like getting an alcoholic in treatment to, go, right? You got to get that. So when you do that, okay, you can pull them off the street. But really the way you want to do it is you get the first one and the first one's stabilized. And then we go back to that encampment, right? And you say, and you bring this woman who's friends with all of them. And she is now the golden retriever. So she will now say something to this effect. I left and I'm having a great time. This is a much better deal here. Why don't you come with me? And that's how it's done, right? And what we're working on now is all these therapists that are going to go out into the field and they're all going to follow me around like the Pied Piper. And I'm going to show them exactly how we do it, just like I showed the fire department down there in Venice how to vaccinate all the homeless people. Okay, great story. I go there. I bought a building on Abbot Kinney in Venice so that I could walk the streets every morning and meet all the homeless people and see what they needed and figure it out, right? So I go down there and I'm doing that. And one day, it's during the pandemic and all the encampments are lined up on the sidewalk and it's like literally a half a mile long. And then at the end, you've got this tent with these firemen. They're about 26 years old. Literally, they're babies. And they're out there trying to vaccinate these guys. So it's 11 o'clock and I'm walking by. I got a car following me behind me, passing out breakfast burritos and the whole thing, right? Blankets, socks, whatever they need. And I roll up on these firemen and I'm like, how many people have you stuck today, boys? And they're like, none. And I'm like, well, how long you been here? And they're like, 3 hours. And I'm like, you son, come with me. So into the middle of the middle of the people, right? And I got a wad like this, right? And I take out the wad and I hold it. I do the fan. Right? And in the middle, I scream, okay, who wants to get stuck today? And everybody rushes me and they want the money. I'm like, go get stuck first. Then you get $40. Right? And so they're like lining up to do this. And the guy's, this is incredible. And I'm like, yeah, okay, genius. Here. And I hand him the wad. And I said, that's how it's done. Right? It's kind of like that. You know, it's just, you just do what's in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man. You are built different, Richard. I gotta tell you.
You're a good man.
You just have to be of service, right? It's if you can. Look, there in every small town in America, there's a guy who puts the dogs down. Do you know why?
No.
Because he can. Okay? This is my thing. It's what I can do. So that's what I do. And it may not make me feel good, but it doesn't matter how I feel. My feelings aren't facts. You just get up, you lean into it, and then you run right through it. And that is how you do it. The end.
Have you always had that?
Yes.
That drive?
Absolutely. Always from the gate. And that's why when I was loaded and I'm constantly praying to God and I'm saying, hey, please help keep me safe. No hospitals, no police, and please help me enjoy my run. And I know you're disappointed in me, but we'll start again right afterwards, I promise. So I always had that connection. Always. Yeah.
I'm Dr. Sarah Rahal, the founder and CEO of Armra. I developed Armra Colostrum because I know your body was designed to thrive. It's your natural state, your birthright, and you can reclaim it. Colostrum is the first nutrition we receive in life, with every essential nutrient our bodies need. It's nature's original blueprint for health. After a devastating health crisis almost took my life, I made it my mission to harness this power. Using proprietary technology, Armra captures over 400 bioactive nutrients in every scoop, delivering over 1,000 benefits that transform your health at its foundation. Whether for gut health, metabolism, skin, hair, immunity, mood, energy, fitness, or recovery, I invite you to join this collective revival of health and discover radical transformation for yourself. Visit armra.com, that's ARMRA.com, and enter code HEALTH30 for 30% off your first subscription order. This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, there's hope, right? Again, I guess you're kind of like the hope. Like there's people out there that are doing things because they can, and it's making a difference and a positive impact. It definitely makes me question, like, damn,
No.
Why? What can we contribute, G-Rex?
Yeah, what can we do to make the world a little less shittier for those people, right? What can we do? What can our listeners do?
Okay, well, the first thing they can do is have talks with their children all the time, early and often, about fentanyl, right? Because what's happening is 70% of the street drugs now, and that means online drugs too, by the way, are filled with fentanyl, 70%. And, when somebody comes into treatment, let me tell you how it works. The first thing you do is you walk in and you go to the nurse's station and you do something called an assessment. And what is that? Gets your whole history and your whole drug history. And, they say, what are you using? How much? How long? Right? Those types of questions. And they go through this process. Do you know that 40% of the people that have sworn on a stack of Bibles up and down they have never done fentanyl are testing positive for fentanyl? That means 40% of the people that are using drugs don't even know they're on fentanyl. And that is the danger, because those are the kids that are dying because they don't have the tolerance for fentanyl. They don't have it. They're not fentanyl users. Right? So that's one of them. The second one, being that, both of us have mental health podcasts and the one thing I always say is therapy isn't something you have to do.
Right.
It's something you get to do. It is the ultimate luxury. It is how elegant men and women deal with their stressors in the world so they're not creating wreckage. And anybody who doesn't get that is a fucking idiot. Okay? They don't matter. And let's get to one other thing as long as we're on it. Anybody who doesn't add to your life, get rid of.
Literally.
Literally.
That's right. If someone's not adding value to your life, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Rule number one.
Yeah.
We only have one go around at this thing. We got to be better to each other. Right? And we don't need people in here that are sucking the wind out of the room and sucking the life out of us. Okay? We can do better. This is the most estimable thing I've ever done because I've never had the opportunity to speak to so many, right? And have a following now where I've got, I don't know who the hell knows how many people are listening. We're ranked 3 or 4 in the mental health space, and just like you guys, right? Mm-hmm. And we're doing good work. I mean, we're doing good work. You guys are doing good work. We're doing good work. And that's why I want to support anybody who has a mental health or substance use disorder podcast or life coaching or anything that will support people thriving in the world, because I've got 58 years of living and I ain't hiding the ball. I want to pull everybody up. A rising tide lifts all boats. A lot of wealthy people hide the ball.
Yeah,
they do. Yeah.
Greedy. I don't want to hide shit. I have all these kids on my show. I fell into these underground rap scene, right? Because these are the kids that are dying. And not just that, they're glorifying it. And then all the kids that are their fans are dying, right? So I leaned into that right away. That wasn't my idea. That was God. You think I thought of that? No. I felt the pull and I went that way. And now here we are.
Yeah.
I think it's really important what you said about our podcast. One thing about TV and radio is that they are geographic based. Our podcast, you have the ability to listen to us anywhere in the world, as long as you have a device to listen to us on. And we're not out there, us for sure. We're not clinical by any means, right? But every time we bring a guest on, we unlock somebody else's prison. So sharing our stories is really important, because if we can get somebody the help that they need or give them a resource that they didn't know about, it's super important. And, you touched on another thing, like just be fucking nice, people. So I'm telling you, the world is on fire right now. Be nice to people. It costs you nothing to be kind. absolutely nothing.
Right.
And, take care of your kids, take care of your family, take care of yourself. And I love what you said. If you have dead weight in your life, get rid of it, because that's all it is, dead weight.
And there's so much good. There's so much good in the world. You can find something that you're passionate about and give back. You can put your effort into your kids and your grandkids. You can, I started doing, because I was losing myself to work. I'm working about 18 to 20 hours a day, and I've been doing that for the last 2 years. And I'm not even tired. But what I haven't seen any of my friends. And so they're just coming by the house and, they'll sit down, smoke a cigar, watch me work because I don't have any. And then in between phone calls, we'll shoot the shit, And so what I decided to do was every 2 weeks, right, I go through my phone contacts and I find the person in there that I miss that I haven't spoken to in a while. And I call them and I make plans to do something with them, lunch or dinner or whatever, because I was losing myself, right? I wasn't taking care of myself. When you take care of everybody else, you get left behind, right? And so, and I've always been good at self-care, working out and getting a massage and, my therapy constantly. I'm probably the most over-therapized human being on the face of the earth, right? And very proud of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love this. We need more humans like you in this world.
I have 2 questions for you.
Please.
If you can go back in time, she laughs because we do this every time. If you can go back in time to a younger version of yourself and give that younger version some advice, what would you tell yourself and how old are you?
I'm 17. And I would tell myself to go into the military. It would have been great for me. I would have either been thrown out or a 4-star general. There is no in between with me.
Okay.
But either way, it would have been a great experience. And that's what's missing from me. And in fact, it's probably why I do this stuff, because I feel so guilty that I didn't go. And the truth is, I didn't know about it. I was so drugged up and my parents were so defective. There was no way. I mean, look, we were just trying to get away from the beatings. My brothers and I, we were walking around on eggshells. We weren't thinking about our futures. We were thinking about not getting the shit kicked out of us today.
I hear you. Okay. Second question, what has been the hardest lesson in your life that you've had to learn?
Wow, that's an excellent question. Maybe here's the lesson. Every time you tell somebody to fuck off, it costs you money. Every time. Right? It's just, that's the rule. Right? It doesn't matter if you're beating them down in court or whatever it is. It still costs me money. Right? It's like, it just doesn't matter. Right? Just, it doesn't cost anything. I say it all the time, and you are 1,000% correct. It doesn't cost you anything to be nice. Right? It's just, sometimes I just can't stop running my mouth.
I have that problem.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you done with your crazy questions?
Yes. I'm sorry I get deep. I'm done.
No,
Are you done?
Thank you.
That was actually beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You heard that, G-Rex? Beautiful.
Okay, beautiful. All right. So my question for you is, it's 2 questions. First one is, if your anxiety had a theme song, what is it and why?
Wow, if my anxiety had a theme song. Wow. It would be called Cage Job, because I'm an animal and I belong in a cage when I'm anxious.
I like that. I like that a lot. All right. So what is your least favorite word?
Probably feedback. Okay, fuck you with your feedback. just shut up. Feedback. You know what's funny? It's funny is, when you're an alcoholic, right? You think any alcoholic thinks they're an expert on alcoholism, right? So no, dude, you're an expert in your own sobriety. Okay. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Okay. I'm not interested in your feedback. Okay.
What is your favorite word?
Disrespectful, isn't it? It's like the height of disrespect. It's such bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, dude, come and tell me. It's the only fucking thing in the world that I'm good at. Yeah, please come tell me.
Yeah.
What's your favorite word?
Well, that was a rant. You guys don't have a rant segment?
We should. I would go on for far too long for sure.
I got a rant segment.
Oh, nice. We'll have to get on that.
Help it. I'm just so out of my mind.
All right. We still love you.
So you were saying, and I apologize. I love you too, by the way.
It's all good. So what's your favorite word?
It's not feedback.
Probably ass clown. I'm on an ass clown thing now.
An ass clown kick? Yeah. You're on an ass clown.
Yeah, everybody's an ass clown. It'll probably last another month. And then I'll move on to something else.
What do you mean it's not going to last for the next 4 years?
These things have an expiration date.
God, I hope so. So I want to, how can our listeners find you? How can they find your podcast? Can they find out more about you? If they want to connect with you?
Okay. Well, my name is Richard Taite. It's spelled T as in Tom, AITE. And we have a podcast called We're Out of Time with Richard Taite. And I have my affordable center where you can go to for $500 deductible and, get 30 days of free treatment. So I'm very proud of that. We can find that's at One Method Center. And Carrera Treatment Center is the business I founded. Only 18 beds, Four Seasons with best clinical care in the world. That's what that is. So we have all different levels of care. We can treat anybody. And the people that we can't treat, we're more than happy to refer out, because I don't ever want anybody to think that because they can't afford one of our centers that we can't help them. That's a bridge too far. So it's Richard Taite on Instagram, TikTok, but I don't know the handles. You'll just have to, this is just brain damage, isn't it? I'm 58. What is this? This is social media. I just want to, God.
That's why we don't do TikTok. It's not my genre. I can't.
It's an ass clown is what it is. I'm just kidding.
I've got a TikTok. I don't even know how to get on it.
Dirty Skittles can teach you.
I just doom scroll. I'm not participating, just watching.
Okay.
I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast. I appreciate you so much. And the world needs more people like you.
Yes.
Well, I'm just going to say that I appreciate you guys too. And I hope you guys will come on my podcast.
That'd be fun.
Oh, we would love that.
Yeah, I'll get my rant ready.
Get your rant ready, because we do the rants. Okay? We do the rants.
Okay? Will do.
Think about it. It's healthy to have a rant.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah,
okay?
It is.
Mental health. Got to have a rant.
You've got to let out the steam.
That's right. And we can even scream into pillows when you're here.
Okay.
Done. I love that. I'll bring my pillow. I'm so excited. But thank you so much. And it has really been an honor to talk to you.
Yeah.
The pleasure's been all mine, guys. If it wasn't, I would have told you. All right.
All right. Hi, all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm G-Rex.
And I'm Dirty Skittles.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. We'd love to listen to your feedback.
We can't do this without you guys.
It's okay to be not okay. Just make sure you're talking to someone.